Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. I've been reading in the book of Galatians this past few days, and specifically in chapter 3, there were some things here that I never really noticed before, just this repeated theme that I thought was pretty cool, and I wanted to share with you. Just quick background of the book of Galatians. Galatia is kind of in modern day Turkey. Paul had gone there and preached the gospel as a missionary and planted churches there. But a short time afterwards, some false teachers came through and they kind of belittled Paul, saying, now, who's he? What does he know? And they said, no, you actually got to follow the Old Testament law to be right with God. And so they distorted the gospel. So Paul wrote this letter to correct that and say, no, it's not by works of the law, it's by faith that we are saved. And in chapter 3, as he's going through this argument, it's something that's really cool, I think. So in verse 14, he says that we receive the promised Spirit, the Holy Spirit. We receive him through faith. And then moving on to verse 24, it says that we are justified by faith. And then in verse 26, we are made sons and daughters of God through faith. And so everything we have in salvation, everything from the gift of the Holy Spirit to being made right with God or justification, to being made part of God's family, adoption, all of this comes to us through faith. There's nothing we've got to do, nothing we got to earn to receive all of these wonderful gifts that God has for us. All we have to do is hear and believe what God has told us. And that faith is the empty, open hand, receiving what God has for us. And yes, in response to that, we live out a life of love. In response to that, we work. But works and our response of love is never the foundation for how we have the Spirit. It's never the foundation for how we're justified. It's never the foundation for how we're made into God's family. So if you're tempted to trust in yourself, or if you're worried that you're not good enough for God to love you or for God to give these things to you, forget it. It's not about worthiness. It's not about the works that you do. It's about simply trusting and believing in God. So I encourage you to think about that today. And if you got some time, read Galatians chapter 3. God bless.